system. And if you notice in the agreement, the coalition agreement, we specifically reserved our right to take that to arbitration, as we have to take an age discrimination case if we see that. So Howie has, because this is where now, on these kind of issues, and also even on tenure issues, this is where facts matter. So even on tenure, for example, they have agreed this year, which they didn't have to do, that all the standards on tenure remain the same. All the prior conditions that they've done for the last 3 years and Children First remain the same. So if we see that that's different, we now have a hook because of this agreement to back them off of a principal doing something different on tenure this year than they've ever done before. So, and the same, but we need the facts to know that. So, and the same is true on this issue of if somebody goes for an interview and hears that from the principal, we need to know that so that we have that for the arbitration.
Tom Dromgold, District Rep for Manhattan High Schools. This is a motion for next month's agenda. It's the Manhattan, and you should insert high school because I don't want my district colleagues to be angry at me, where the Manhattan High School chapter leaders met on Wednesday, April 25th, 2007, and a vote of 18-1 resolved to present to the Delegate Assembly a resolution regarding the following. Whereas recent statements of Chancellor Klein make it clear that principals are expected to manage as cost-conscious CEOs of their schools following the business model. Whereas the new funding formula creates a disincentive for principals to hire and retain experienced teachers. Whereas untenured teachers are still not protected from Bloomberg's goal to give tenure to fewer teachers. Whereas the DOE has assigned displaced regional administrators to schools to teach shortened programs and assist in administrative tasks while displacing UFT members who are willing to teach full programs. Whereas the DOE continues to erode contractual rights in areas of hiring, the loss of hardship transfers, erosion of the secretarial license, status and use of the ATRs. Whereas the UFT has resolved to continue to fight for changes in those aspects of the reorganization plan that are still flawed or undermine public education, including any efforts to privatize schools. Whereas the union has engendered a positive momentum for change in its supported petitions and sign-up lists for a rally to address these flaws in the reorganization plan. Be it therefore resolved that the UFT take a vigorous stance against the privatization agenda of Bloomberg and Klein, and that the UFT immediately set a date to sponsor a rally before the end of the school year that follows up on the DA motion of Tuesday, April 24th, to continue to fight for changes in those aspects of the reorganization that undermine our members' rights. Am I motivated now?
Yeah! Nice put.
I asked, by the way, unless you want him to be here, I asked the deputy mayor. If you want him to be here, I'll ask him to come back in. But the deputy mayor was here, and I asked him to walk out for this conversation. But if you want him to be here, it's fine with me.
We'd rather go to the mayor, Randy. We'd rather be at City Hall.
Yes, yes, is that okay? Yes. I mean, because I said...
Really?
That was the plan.
Come on. Thanks, Nick, for telling me how to run the meeting.
If you examine, for example, the Principals Weekly and some of Joel Klein's statements to the principals, that kind of contradict some of their public statements. I don't know about you. I don't trust Joel Klein.
Right.
I sat a few feet from him yesterday as he introduced all the new officials, changing seats in the Titanic. And he mentioned team several times. But he mentioned the word accountability more times than I could count. And this is to them. So, in my mind, I heard it this way. Well, these supervisors are going to hold the principals accountable, and guess who the principals are going to hold accountable? And that will be the theme for the coming months in a variety of ways. More important to me than any of the whereases in this motion is the very last whereas. The union drew up petitions, drew up sign-up lists, and got people to commit to go to a rally. Some of the things in the original motion certainly have not changed. And all I'm asking for, all we're asking for essentially, is that this be discussed further a month from now. If at that time we decide, no, a rally's not in order, so be it. But at least it holds the floor open, and it also sends them the signal that we're still contemplating this, and we're still thinking about a kind of grassroots action where we get our members out into the streets and making a statement about their reorganization.
The maker of the motion has to, can I offer a Solomonic compromise here, which is this. This is totally out of order. So if this doesn't work, if the maker of the motion says no, then it goes for the rest of the debate. But we have an action committee that does these things. They actually brought the first resolution to us about when the rally is and things like that, and the action committee is a multi-partisan committee. Remember, we announced it, there are a lot of people from different parties on it, and we would continue to open up representation to make sure that that's where that debate would be. But what I would suggest, and again, if Tom says no, if the maker of the motion says no, or, you know, I can't do this because this is out of order, but I would just ask for referral of this motion to the action committee because, you know, let them try to figure out what's going on, and if there needs to be debate, or needs to be a rally at a certain time, why wait to June 13th? But Tom would have to say yes or no, or the Manhattan representatives would have to say yes or no to that, and then if they say no, then we go to a debate.
Let me respond. I have no problem of this document being examined by any group. That does not preclude the notion that it should be on next month's agenda. It could, both things could happen. It could be on next month's agenda. It could also go to the action committee, and it come June 13th, it could be reworded or worked on or withdrawn or whatever by the action committee. All I'm asking for is at that date, at that time, that this further be considered and debated.
That, to me, I mean, it was well stated, but that to me was a no, because it's, if your motion to refer is either you refer or you don't refer. But that's okay. So does anybody want to speak against this motion?
We don't know. Come on, you're a guest in the delegate.
About 2 months ago, this delegate assembly,
So all in favor of putting it on next month's agenda, raise your cards. All opposed? It is not on next month's agenda. By administrative fiat, because I can't do it now by the ownership of the delegate assembly, but what I will do in terms of my position as president and as the kind of ex officio chair of the action committee, I will ask the action committee to look at whether or not the moment that we see, if we see bad faith, to not hesitate, just like I didn't hesitate to call a special delegate
I would think if
assembly.
there's no action in the
That's so
action committee,
debatable.
well, what's
Not
the last
hesitate
action?
to call a special delegate assembly.
We haven't had
to
an
try to
action in the
authorize
action
something
committee
just
since
like
I
that
remember
just
being a
suggested.
teacher.
Thank you. Any other
And I don't know how much more bad faith we have to see from Bloom Flying.